Health insurance, health care is obviously a critical employee benefit. And the other one that's just as critical is retirement. Now, many of us view our businesses as our retirement strategy, and I think you're going to hear why that may not always be your best bet. But obviously, retirement plans for our employees are critical. Charlie, that's an area that I know you specialize in quite a bit. Talk to me about what types of retirement benefits I should think about providing and when I should think about providing them as a business owner.
Well, I think the first point you brought up is a lot of business owners, when you ask them what their retirement plan is, will say, you're sitting in it, Charlie. This is my retirement plan. And we always like to say to a business owner, you know, that's the best laid plans. I won't have any ability in how successful you are in your business. That's why you're here operating that business. But what I like to have is a conversation that I call a capital conversation with you, or the capitalization conversation. And the capitalization conversation is simply, if you're successful one day and you're able to sell this business, that'll be great. But what if you're not? What if unforeseen forces prevent you from selling this business? We've already seen many of those, but unforeseen forces could be outside forces, globalization, competition. Business owners will tell me, because we work a lot of family business owners, my son or daughter will take over someday. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Maybe you don't want them to. So the capitalization conversation is, you know, Bob, what we need to do, or Ray Lee, what we need to do on a regular basis is get capital outside of your business on a tax-favorable basis and set it aside. You've got two economies. You've got the business economy, and you're going to have this economy that we're going to call your retirement economy. And so the question you're asking is, well, what's the right retirement economy for me to be establishing? And that's really a conversation about what can the business bear, or what is the business owner trying to provide either for themselves or for the employees. Most people know about 401k plans because it's really, most large companies and even small companies today have 401k plans. They're set up so that employees can set aside money easily through payroll deduction on a tax-favorable basis. And typically, those are plans for the employees, not for the employer. So as you move up sort of the tier of retirement plans, you have the 401k plan, and there's different types of 401k plans. Age-weighted, new comparability, safe harbor, elective safe harbor, non-elective safe harbor. So the plans start to get more complicated as we try and find out, are we trying to put more money aside for the business owner, or are we trying to put more money aside for the employees, and are we trying to balance that? Then you have to test the plan. You have to file the plan, a tax return. So it gets very, very complicated. And the next thing you know is you really want to be sitting with somebody who specializes, just like Ray Lee specializes in the medical area, in the retirement planning area. And then just the last point is, Congress has done a lot in the last few years to simplify retirement planning and complicate it at the same time. But one thing that they did that I think is very powerful for small business owners who are making money is they said, you know, if we have a business owner making $200,000, $300,000, and we have employees making $30,000 or $40,000, and in a 401k, the most you can put aside is $13,000. This business owner can never put aside enough money to replace that income when they retire. So the government created simplified defined benefit plans where now this owner of a company can put aside $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 pre-tax. And typically that business owner might be 55 or 60, and they don't have a lot of time, so they need the ability to put aside more money than the person who's 25 or 30. So again, you want to go back to your advisor and say, or actually your advisor wants to ask you, what is it you're trying to create for yourself and for your employees, and then they can guide you through the best possible plan design.
Another way to look at that, what Charlie's talking about, business owners, and you think that you're going to retire off of your business, and many of us do think that. But if you think about your business and your personal as having two buckets of assets, and in your business bucket, you've got almost all of your assets. And yet, when you start seeing who's in line to get the money out of that, you got the bank, you got your creditors, you got your employees. Who's last in line? It's you. You're last in line. Now, in your personal bucket, you have very little assets because everything's over here in the business. But who's first in line besides your wife or your husband? It's you.
Kids.
So the idea is that we want to, the IRS has built a wall to keep you from moving money from one side to the other. But retirement plans is one way that you're able to find a window in that wall and move money from one bucket to the other, where you get the money over where you're first in line, not last in line.
You know, one other point, I just wanted to point out about that is something we haven't talked about, which is asset protection. One of the best things that a qualified retirement plan, not an IRA, but a qualified retirement plan is for a business owner is asset protection. I really own very little other than my qualified plan money and my business. Everything else I don't own. Property, other assets, because there's a target on my back as a business owner that someone's going to sue me because we live in a litigious society. But if they do, they can't pierce into that retirement plan money because it's protected. It's like an offshore island. And that's the way ERISA, which is the government code that protects and regulates retirement plans, has set it up. So that for a business owner, it's a great opportunity to be able to put money aside not only for retirement, but to keep other people's hands off due to litigious liability situations. So, very important point.
Also, in many states, your personal life insurance policies are affected the same way. They're outside the reach of creditors in a bankruptcy situation.
I have one more comment on 401ks. It's important as business owners, when you look at putting in a 401k and managing a 401k, it is not a no maintenance or low maintenance kind of benefit plan. A lot of small employers will sort of grab a plan document that somebody says, oh, we'll give it to you, it'll be really, really cheap. Those end up being expensive in the long run. Plans need maintenance, they need ongoing compliance, they need ongoing oversight. You need to do discrimination testing on an annual basis to confirm that the plan passes. You need to file 5500s. You need to have updated plan documents. There's a lot of oversight that many, especially small business owners, sort of install a plan and just leave it on the shelf for a while. Don't get into the habit of thinking that it's kind of just a plan that takes care of itself. It does need annual maintenance. Also, your employees need education. In order to make the plan fly, you need to educate your employees, and you need to be committed to educating your employees. If you're looking at a standard 401k plan and you as the owner want to max fund it, typically in order to pass the ADP test, you need your employees to participate as well. They're not going to participate if they don't understand what a international stock fund is or what a bond fund is. They need some basic education. Why should they put their money in a 401k? What might happen? They need to understand the risks of investing in various vehicles. And you, as a plan fiduciary, need to make sure that there's a diversified offering of investment options for your employees for your own protection, so that you can provide an appropriate investment vehicle for someone who's 55 and needs a conservative portfolio, and for somebody who's 25 and needs to take and has more time or wants to take a more aggressive investment stance. So there's a couple of things that business owners need to remember about managing a 401k plan.
I want to put in a 401k.
Good.
But my business is not consistently profitable, and I'm concerned about the cost of administration I can handle. But I know that if I don't contribute to the plan, I'm not going to get as good a participation from my employees. So I'd like to make a contribution, but I'm concerned about locking myself into a fixed cost where I have to make that contribution every year, whether I'm having a good year or a bad year. What can I do about that?
We have a number of employers that are in that situation where they want their employees to be able to put aside money on a pre-tax basis in a 401k plan. They'd like to match, but their business is just, the revenues are regular, the profits are irregular. And so you can structure a 401k plan with a discretionary profit-sharing match, which basically says the following: we're going to match you 50 cents on the dollar up to 6%, but we're not going to do it till the end of the year when we see what the profits are. And that's our intention, so we encourage you, the employee, to put money in, because if you don't and we decide to match, you're not going to get the match. And so what you're really saying in that situation, employees, and you know what, employees understand how your business is operating. They see it every day. They come to work. They're in the trenches with you every day. So if you just talk honestly and openly to employees about, we really do want to do this. I know everybody thinks employees are suspicious of owners, but we really want to do this. And if the company's profitable, that's what we intend to do. And the other important thing then is to actually sit down and take a look at, don't overpromise for something that you know you'll never be able to deliver. Because if you set that expectation bar year after year and you don't do it when you're profitable, then you're going to have a serious problem. But I think the point you're making is it can be a discretionary match. It can be done at the end of the year. It's part of the 401k match or the profit sharing match. So there is flexibility to the business.